back from executive session at 8:02. Added to the agenda will be 10B, a motion to approve the contract between the Borough of Morrisville and Bob Sudi to reflect 3 months of severance. We will now begin public comment, beginning with Mike Yeager.
Hi everybody, Mike Yeager, 338 Melvin Avenue North. Mike Yeager, 338 Melvin Avenue North. I want to touch base on a couple of things that are coming up real soon. The Rotary has their annual carnival, starts tomorrow, goes through next Saturday. Please come out, have a good time, bring the kids, it's always fun. This Saturday, we have Hands Across the Canal Path. I know I've mentioned it before, but I wanted to touch base on a few things with it. Youth fishing tournament starts at 9 a.m., ends at 10:45. There will be raffles there, live music, an 80s trivia contest, and some local vendors. We've also got some amazing items to raffle off. It's a combination of donations from local organizations like Vista Appliance, HLI Bait and Tackle, and a lot of support from our neighbors. One of the things I do want to point out from an individual that made an amazing donation just the other day, a woman by the name of Jody Wilmot. She's been one of our neighbors for a lot of years. Some of you may know the name. Harold Wilmot worked for the borough for about 30 years, 30 plus years, worked for the water plant. This amazing lady, at 90 years old, decided she wanted to take a watercolor of the place her husband worked at for a lot of years and donate it to this event to help raise money for Interfaith Food Alliance to help feed the hungry in our area. It's an amazing watercolor and it's an amazing donation by this woman. So I just wanted to point that out. I personally was humbled by her donation. It was very touching. So all that said, I do want to make a comment to the addition to the agenda. And I'd just like to say, Bob Sudi, I think you're a good guy. But this is business, and I would also like to hear with the vote the benefit to the taxpayer. Because again, he's a great guy. But this is about protecting the taxpayer. So I just want to throw that out there. Thank you.
Next we have a Madeline.
Good evening, Madeline Jones, Hillcrest Avenue. First off, I'd like to thank you for having us be able to speak. Second, following up, please, on the status of budget for purchasing your title plates for each of you. For I still do not know, I'm sure a lot of folks come and go, or apparently this is live, and do not know your titles. Please. A junior council person has a title. So I think it's something, just a nameplate you set up around the microphone. And then when you leave your seat, that stays. And if I may, I'm going to be forward. I'm going to ask each of you if you have a pencil in your hand and a piece of paper. And a piece of paper. And I am going to ask that each of you, in one word, write down, and don't look left or right, please, because they will not help you. In one word, why you were sitting there and chosen to sit in that chair. Why did you run for election, no matter what your title or post or chair is up there? One word, please. Then you can put that in your pocket. One word. No left or rights. No looking up to me either, sir, because I won't give you the answer. And if I brought this up before, I'm going to bring it up again. For 3 months now, I have lived in the borough. For many, many years, and years ago, I was quite active in the borough, in different capacities. But now I'm living here, and for 3 months, I've been trying to find out how I find and see and watch the tape of the meetings. For 3 months, since day one when I moved in. I've talked to probably some of you, or one or two of you up there. I've talked to folks throughout the area, the borough. No one seems to know how I find the tape reruns of the meeting.
They're online.
I don't have, myself and folks don't have online. Right, but my point is, everyone doesn't have online. Government channel, no matter if it's Comcast, Verizon, are provided for each and every resident to find out what the meetings are about. And I have found out recently, or maybe since the last meeting, that this is live. Well, if I leave the meeting for whatever reason, and cannot get home or to a TV to watch it, I don't know what's going on. You don't have the agenda posted on whatever, type of media. And I'm asking, please, for earnest consideration. If you care about each individual, I don't care if they live in an apartment, a row home, a townhouse, a single home, each one has the right, please, to find out what council and everyone else in the borough is doing. And the community, the residents who come up here and speak. We all have a right to know. So I'm asking for taped reruns of each council meeting, 7 p.m., 7 a.m., and pick a time during the middle of the night, 2 or 3 a.m. Please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, Jane Berger.
Good evening. Jane Berger, 90 West Maple Avenue in Morrisville. A couple of things. On item 10B, Mr. Kerner, will you say contract? To be consistent with the borough code, I believe they call it an employment agreement.
I had agreement with our solicitor and contract, so.
But anyway, I'm sure
We
you
can
want
advise that for
to
the.
be consistent with the borough code. There's a reason that they use that particular wording. I noticed in the bill list this evening in the library and in the street fund, there are partial charges for the DCED audit being done by the CPA. And I was wondering if there was a process to decide how that audit cost is allocated across all of the funds. I don't know if it was on April's bills, part of it. If there was, I'm sorry that I missed it. But it's $1,200 each, which is $24. So either you're going to get more bills from the CPA, or again, I might have missed them. In the past, they allocated based on the percentage of funds of the budget that was. So you might want to look at how you're doing that, and as you get more money into the funds during the year, you might want to do that, or at least confer with the CPA the proper way to allocate that audit cost. Third, I'm just wanting to confirm or clarify the hours for public works. It used to be 7 to 3:30, and is that still what the hours would be? Okay, and if anyone's working outside of those hours, I think that Mr. Subi would be doing any prior approved overtime for anyone to be on the street before. Okay, we'll talk. While we're talking about the street sweeper, I was pleased last Monday, which was trash day, to see it on my street. I would have been happier if it would have come later after the trash had been picked up, because the guys are good, but sometimes stuff does fall into the street. So when you have a few minutes when you're not handling crises, you might want to look to scheduling that. I don't know if the trash haulers give you a schedule of when they go around town or what streets or whatever. I mean, you don't want to necessarily follow them closely, but it really makes more sense to go down the street after they're done. Okay, and finally, I did see in the draft agenda that there was to be a discussion of the Cloverleaf property, and I don't see that on this evening, which is fine. There's a lot of history there, a lot of reports, and a lot of documents. You might want to, because because I'm the only one in the room that was on Borough Council around when all of these plans were done. And I'm going back to 2003. There were several things. There was a Bucks County Riverview Development Plan, and we did the resolution for that in June of 2005. And the thrust of that was to take the riverfront communities and no longer do industrial development on them, try to pull those businesses off. A lot of them are vacant buildings. We don't use the river to transport goods that comes inland. There's a lot of demand for recreation and housing along the river, and you can see the Bristols and Ben Salem have been blessed to do a lot of development. I do not want to get rid of the levee that has saved us from many floods, but as we look to the lower end of town, there might be something we're always trying to do to access. As part of that, we had a CIRAC, Certified Redevelopment Area Committee, that worked. That basically took most of the first ward and a little bit over on the other side of Bridge Street to look into a redevelopment area. That plan is good for 20 years. I think you may have 10 years left on that. And a lot of recommendations for planning, development, and zoning. The borough did do a riverfront zoning district, which takes in the Cloverleaf property. There were apartments next to it, and of course there's a landfill behind it, and also incorporated Staley. We had our fingers crossed for many years that we could convince them to leave. And when the tank cars got flooded, we nearly had them out of there. But part of the development plan of the Cloverleaf was to try to have an access back to that area. We really weren't wanting to do heavy industry, a lot of commercial, because it is surrounded by residences. The original plan we were thinking, many of our seniors were in homes with second floor bathrooms, they needed one floor, looking for some age-restricted, small townhouse type development where you would have a second floor, but you could live on the first if you could no longer do steps. For many reasons that did not happen. Through all of this, we've had agreements with the Bucks County Redevelopment Authority. The borough purchased the Cloverleaf, did the demolition, we purchased the apartments, we did the demolition. The first project was the beautiful Renaissance building up here, where we paid for the demolition, and we were able, through, it was then Senator Conte and the Redevelopment Authority, got a grant for the actual purchase. There were partnerships there with a lot of funding. If you would look at the loans, the 98/2002 and the 2004 capital improvement loans, you would see there was a considerable amount of money for elimination of blight, and that was a lot of that money came from those projects. So if there are possibilities coming to light to develop that, you really might want to take the time to look through these documents and not rush into it. The availability of Staley's is not anything on the horizon, but it's no secret that the wastewater treatment plant, many of its components are approaching the end of its useful life, and with increasing regulations from DEP, our newest and best friend, we really need to look at a new plant, and that's under active discussion. I believe there's some information that's come to council on that, and there'll be more to come. There's several options that are being looked at. Hopefully, and I'm just speaking as myself as a member of the board, I'm not speaking for the board, that we're working diligently to look at several sites for building a new plant that, looking forward, and for this you have to look 50 years into the future, and the capability to keep up with new technology and increasing regulations, parameters of what was acceptable today. It gets shrunk tomorrow. Things that aren't being tested for today may be tested tomorrow, so there's a lot of technical work in that. But if the wastewater treatment plant final decision is to build a new plant on another location, you will have to think about that particular property that is on the riverfront. Just food for thought for the future. We don't know the decision, but certainly if there's been nothing built on this property since 2003 or 2004, 6 or 8 months might not be too long to wait until you know what the options for the development. I've always said their first ward, the southern end of town, really had the best opportunity for revitalization, and I hope to see it before I pass away. Thank you.
Okay. Next we have Bill Farrell.
Bill Farrell, 347 North Pennsylvania. I notice on 8G, motion to approve moving forward the digitality way. the website. I went on the website Friday night and Saturday night, I didn't see anything listed there. Was it my computer, or was it there, or it wasn't there? I don't know. I looked and it wasn't anything there. So maybe you'll fix it and get it done right. Because I don't like to spend too much time on my computer, because it's smarter than me. Sometimes. I haven't heard any rumors about the election that I mentioned a month ago or so. So maybe thing is all hush hush, everybody's keeping quiet. But I did mention about a couple of phones being on borough council. If you want to know if you're on my list, come and ask me, I'll tell you. I don't have a problem with that. But it's about time we start eliminating these political agenda things and use common sense. Unfortunately, Washington D.C. has a lot of very smart people. They all went to school, a lot of them don't have 1 ounce of common sense. That's why common sense is your thing you should use based on your voting, what's good for everybody, not what's good for this group, or what's good for that group. I heard Dean Berger mention about the audit costs. Prior to dissolving the controller, you were paying $6,000 for these audits, and the controller got paid $2,400 for the year. So you spent $18,000. And of course, Victor, we were the only one that had a controller around, but the bottom line was you're spending $3,600 more for the audits. I wasn't too happy when you eliminated the controller, but hey, I can live with that. But I hope you, when you do this, that you take into consideration the people of Morrisville, of the borough, because if you can get it done cheaper, get the same results, that's fine. As for the sweeper was running around my neighborhood for 2 days. I thought they were going to need brushes by the end of the 2 days. I hadn't seen it for 6 months or 8 months. I don't know where it was at, probably in the shop. So I just want you to know it. You don't have to run the streets for 2 days. Give me a break. And plus, they were there early in the morning. They got there before the garbage people. And I like my beauty rest. That's about it. But I don't know. Somebody called me. I was out the other day, and somebody said, "Oh, Mr. Morrisville." I says, "Give me a break, will you? I have a reputation to maintain. Right, Victor? You too. And I'm not Mr. Morrisville. No way am I Mr. Morrisville. I live in Morrisville. I pay my taxes. I do have one question. I remember last year there was a number allotted to the garbage that hadn't been, the money that hadn't been collected. I believe at that time it was between $500,000 and $700,000. What's the policy of the borough related to collecting the money in arrears for the garbage? Because I know you pay the garbage bill to the borough. What's going on? Is there anything being done legally where you're slapping liens on people? Or are we just sliding by and letting it go? Because it isn't getting any smaller. Matter of fact, it's getting larger. So it would behoove you people to do something constructive. So these people who don't pay for their garbage, I pay for my garbage, I pay for my water. If that's the case, I guess maybe I should pay for my garbage. I don't know what you're going to do, but there should be something done to collect this money for the borough. I mean, it's due, it's owed, unless you just put some kind of interest on it, or what's going on, or you wait until somebody sells a house and slap a lien on it. But it's about time you did something about it, something constructive. What? I don't know. But other than that, the other thing today, I saw 2 rainbows yesterday and saw the sun today. That's about the only good thing I've seen the last 2 days. Thank you.
Phil. Next we have Peter Garden.
Peter Garden, 226 West Franklin Street. Can I just pass up two of these things to you real quick? You guys don't have to look at these right now, although you can pass them around while I'm talking. I'll try to make it quick. A lot of you up there know me. I'm Peter, I'm president of Friends of Morrisville Dog Park. A lot of you have seen me a lot, but it's been a little while. Years ago, we were up here just about every month talking to you guys. You were helping us put the park together and get that started. Now clearly it's started and going really well. Thank you very much. We haven't been up here a whole lot. I know some Friends of Morrisville Dog Park have been up here in different capacities, but we definitely haven't been up to give you an update. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to do that. What I gave you were just some photographs, some of them taken recently, some taken a while back, just so you can see before and after pictures, see where it stands right now. I know most of you probably don't get down to the park, at least not in the last month, it's been closed. Or even get to drive by and check out all the stuff that's going on there. But there's just so much that is going on, and I just wanted to take a minute to update you on that, and to really appreciate all the people that are involved with that, especially on Friends of Morrisville Dog Park. There's so many people that are doing such good work, and I just wanted to brag a little bit about that too. And I'll try to make this fast, so I will talk pretty quick. Okay. So I won't start from the very beginning, because that was before my son was born. That he's almost 7. And but I do want to go back to the beginning of the Bucks County Open Space Project grant, because that's what's allowing us to do the current improvements. That brings us back to January of 2013. So that still has been over 3 years since we first started discussing Bucks County Open Space grant money to use for this. And that's in January of 2013 is when we actually approached you, Borough Council, for the first time to discuss the open space money used for this. And then it was in June when Friends of Morrisville Dog Park wrote an application on behalf of the borough to Bucks County Open Space, and then we were granted, we were given the grant in August of 2013. The grant was in the amount of $45,000, and most of you know it was a matching grant. Friends of Morrisville Dog Park raised $15,000 of our own money to contribute to this grant, which was a 3-to-1 matching grant, so for a total of a $60,000 project budget. The original scope of work, and again, most of you, this is totally redundant, you all know this. I'm hoping some of you don't, so I'm telling you something new. But the original scope of the work included the installation of 2 ADA-compliant canine and human drinking fountains installed on concrete slabs, running water through the site for those drinking fountains, including a meter pit, a drainage pit, a yard hydrant, which is like a hose bib, and then also approximately 1,200 feet of permeable pavers up around the top of the park, where we're having a lot of trouble with mud and dogs running around and stuff, trying to remediate the mud issues up that way. And also planting 23 trees, give us some shade out there on that big field, and really just make it look better. So we started moving forward with that, having the grant in place. We started putting out, writing up our bid package and whatnot, and we're all volunteers and things take a long time, for us. So we worked really hard on that, and we finally got it all out in September 2014 as one big project, including all the trees and the plumbing and the pavers. And when it came back way too high. All the bids were bid way over $60,000, and it just wasn't going to work. So we just revisited the project to see what we could slim down and see how we could afford to do all that. And while we did that, we decided, you know what, we're buying trees ourselves, and we're going to start planting trees, because that's something we can actually do. We can dig holes. So we started saving money from the very beginning doing that. And by October of 2014, we had already planted nearly 20 trees, basically on our own. We did have some help from a skid loader, but mostly digging holes ourselves and whatnot at that point. Then finally in the winter of 2014-15, we got the fountain portion of the project spec'd out and bid on, and the bid was accepted. And then in the beginning of April of last year, the park was closed for that installation of drinking fountains. So the drinking fountains have been there for quite some time. If you pass them, you've seen a couple, little green things sticking up there. If you haven't been down there, they do have one for the dogs and one for the people, which is pretty cool. As soon as they went in, park users loved them. They were awesome. Then in June of 2015, we put out bids for the paver project, and the same thing happened again. They just came back way too high. So we had to go revisit that and try to slim that down. And we did that, and in the process of doing that, we contacted the manufacturer of the specific pavers we were using, and they gave us a really sweet deal on it. So they gave us a great deal. We purchased the pavers ourselves, put it back out to bid to have them installed. That came back into a good price too. And currently the park is closed. As of March 6th of this year, we closed the park to install those pavers. All the pavers have been installed, and the top of the park's looking great. And the contractor did such a great job that they actually had a lot of pavers left over. We bought a few extra pavers just in case, but when they did it, they trimmed them in such a way, we actually had whole pallets left over. So we decided to figure out what we could do with those pallets, and then conversation with Bob Seward and Bob Suby, we decided to make a change order and include those pavers, or create paver pads underneath each of the benches, which would do a handful of things. One, we always have problems with dogs digging under the benches, so it's going to stop that. It's going to keep the mud away from people's feet. And the best thing for borough maintenance people is that it's easier to mow around them and trim around them and whatnot. So we pulled the benches out from the fence even further so that they didn't have to get so close to the fence with their mowers and all that. So that's really worked out well. So now we have all the benches surrounded by small little paper sections too. So it's starting to look really nice. In April of this year, we also installed a 26-foot sycamore tree, which is by far the biggest tree we installed down there. It's awesome. It's pictured in there somewhere, and Annie Milion is standing next to it, and it looks massive next to her. So that'll be shade for this coming summer, which is really nice. So to date, we've planted over 24 trees, including that huge sycamore, and we're currently working on keeping all these things watered and whatnot. And our crew has been doing an amazing job of doing that. Annie, who's here today, I think you guys know her, she's here often. She has been down there, every day or every other day watering and doing all this. So other people in Friends of Morrisville Dog Park, I don't want to negate what they're doing. But, so we currently, I also wanted to, when we did our last work weekend, can I ask these guys back here? The last work weekend, which was 7th, when was that? Just last weekend. I'm sorry, I missed it. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who came out, because I think some of you guys even came out. A couple of you came out. Is that true? Raise your hand if you came out, because honestly, I'm embarrassed I wasn't there, so I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for coming out and helping dig, and maybe even getting to play on the backhoe, the mini excavator. I may have seen pictures of that. So that was fun. I'm sorry I missed it. But overall, we had budgeted $60,000 for this project, and we've come in significantly under budget. We've been able to do so much ourselves, and so many of our members have found really economical ways to source things, especially trees and whatnot. I think that's probably by far our biggest savings was on the landscaping parts of it, and it was really due to just diligence in finding either donated pieces or just really cheap ways to get these the specific trees that we need. So we have some money left over, and we're moving forward with trying to figure out what we will do with that next. And we will definitely keep you guys all up to date on things that we decide. I know we have some more landscaping plans in the works. We've been talking with the MEAC. They've gone over some of this with us, and I believe they've even provided their recommendation to approve the most current plantings that we're planning here. And yeah, with that, am I missing anything else? Am I really quick? Was that enough? Okay. All right, well, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, you know where to find us.
When do you expect to open up again?
That's a really good question. So one thing that is really important is obviously to establish some grass down there. There was soil disturbance all around the paver sections with the large equipment coming in and out and scraping up. So we've been watering that like crazy. The grass is actually coming in. It's been great. We've aerated the whole area, and the grass is coming in. Haven't answered your question yet, but I'm getting there.
It might not have an answer yet.
It will. Well, the truth is we don't have an exact answer yet. We're hoping. Can I say within a week or so? Okay, within a week or so.
That's great.
No, within a week or so. That would be awesome. So I'll see you guys up here again sometime. Thanks for giving me a minute to talk about it. If anybody, where do we need camera? If anyone's watching on TV that has a dog, sorry we've been closed, but it's going to be worth it. All right. So thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Bill Setzer, 806 Crown Street. I'm the chairperson of the Morrisville EAC. I came tonight specifically just to thank the 20 volunteers that came out to the gravestone cleanup on April 31st. Very generous of those people to give up their time. It was a short 2-hour cleanup, went exceptionally well because we've done it year after year with the help of volunteers who take a few hours out of their time once a year. We got, and the overall effect is people throw less trash down when it's clean. And so each year it's gotten better to the point where we've been able to eradicate a lot of invasive plants, make it a little bit, move it towards being more of a natural woods. And just so that everybody knows that, I don't have much else to say other than thank you to all the volunteers. I'll just read their names. There's only 20 of them, but that's a lot of people at some of these events, and they were all volunteers. So I'll name them. Peg Mongillo, who's a new resident of Morrisville, Wanda Cartel, Ted Parker, Deb Colgan, Janet and Dave Ravella, Tom and Helen Wisnowski, Mike Collins, who's from the first ward, so it's not just people in that neighborhood by any means. Karen Kane, Karen brought a young lady by the name of Sandra Wallander, I think I have the name right, handwriting's a little hard. Justin Bowers came, Fred Kerner came, Fred Kerner Senior, shall we call him, Fred's father came and was very helpful. Catherine Kerner, Fred's wife, Paul Carsavar, myself, my wife, Chris Setzer, Todd Sanford, who was extremely helpful. Todd actually had other things to do, important things to do that day. He came an hour early with his chainsaw and took care of some debris that was laying along his side, and it was hard work, and we really appreciate it, Todd. And Felix Hygen. So that's the 20 people, and just hope more people come next year and keep coming year after year. It was a great thing. Thank you.
There you go. Anyone else for public comment?
You added to the agenda.
Yeah.
Colonel Tenders, 300 Melvin Avenue North. Just want to have a question for the potential employment agreement. Who is pushing or suggested the 3-month severance? That seems excessive in this day and age. To pay someone if you were to let them go, pay them 3 months, not get anything out of it. It doesn't have to be there. It doesn't help us any as a taxpayer to pay potentially, what, 30 grand or whatever to someone that you're
Yeah,
letting go.
sure, there's no requirement there be any severance. When asked, I said the industry standard was between 3 and 6 months, and that's been my experience.
For someone who's been here maybe 10, 15 years, I mean, if he gets, you know, if things work out well and it leads to more employment, but if he gets like,
The contract is only valid until next reorganization. So at next reorganization, there would have to be another contract.
2 years, so, right?
Yeah, 18 months.
So, but let's say in 3 months, he signed this, 3 months from now, something happens, they vote him out. Maybe 3 months for 6 months worth of employment?
I understand your
It's
argument,
premature,
but there are clauses in there if there's any kind of malfeasance, that does not apply. So if he's caught stealing or any kind of related to that, but if they don't like him because they don't like his hair that day, and they put him out,
No, you
then.
can't do that, I know that.
Well, no, you can. You can.
But it seems like it's almost like under a threat. Well, we're gonna go over this, well, give them 3 months worth of, it doesn't need to be there, because it doesn't protect the resident.
You're technically correct, it does not need to be there, but that's what's before council.
Yeah, I would, as a taxpayer, I think I can speak for many people here, that it doesn't guard us in any way. And I think as taxpayers in a town that is strapped for cash for many reasons, not our own doing, that not be there. It doesn't aid us as taxpayers to have a 3-month severance package on anybody pretty much right now. So we're flush with cash and then fine, do what you gotta do. That's all. Thank you.
Moving on, we have 6, the approval of the minutes to approve the regular Borough Council meeting of March 21st, 2016. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And Danielle. Any questions on those minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. We move on to reports. 7A, manager's report.
I just have to pass on a little information. We got a review from our insurance company this week, I should say last week, and it appears that Imagination Island has some structural damage to it, and as of tomorrow, we are going to close it, and in our next agenda meeting, we will address how much it will cost to repair it if council decides that is worth the financial part of the repairs, if they want to do the repairs or keep it closed.
You got volunteers, work a plan, and use the people you have in town.
Public comments, I'm sorry, Greg.
Quite close.
Is that something that we could use community involvement for, or is that, since it's an insurance company, maybe anything?
Well, I mean, again, it needs a lot of work. A lot of expense too. I mean, if that was originally made out of Trex or something like that, we wouldn't be looking at that much of an expense, but it has to be sanded, stained, there's gotta be a lot of fastening areas that have to be fastened, refastened. I mean, it's a big playground, so it needs a lot of work, and our insurance company feels that it's not beneficial insurance-wise, or liability-wise, until we have repairs done. That's how fancy it should suggest it.
Better for your report?
Yes.
You want to listen to the report?
Sure. Over this last month, we worked with borough staff on answering several right-to-know requests. We have also worked with borough staff on several agenda items that you'll have tonight. Most importantly being the amendment to the agreement of sale related to MR Ryder, which council will take further action on, and worked on the employment agreement that will be subject of the additional motion this evening. Thank you very much.
We have an engineer here for a report. We have a mayor's report.
Yeah, sure, Mr. Turner. I'd just like to share two things this evening. Recently, a couple of weeks ago, it was April 30th, in fact, the county participated in the drug take-back program, and Morrisville, as you know, has downstairs in front of the police window, the receptacle for that, and I'd just like to report that Morrisville Borough took 45 pounds of drugs that day, which is something I thought was very noteworthy. And also, people may be interested in this, you know, it's not in Morrisville, but it certainly could affect our residents. Saturday, May 28th, from 9 to 3 at the Harry S. Truman High School in Bristol is the hazardous chemical collection day. The way I'm reading this, you don't have to be a resident, so Morrisville residents can bring their unwanted hazardous stuff, as such things as heat, oil, says different cleaners, oil-based paint. Right. No electronics will be accepted that day. No latex paint, which I believe could actually just be dried up and tossed in a free once it's cured. And it says actually you can bring up to 25 pounds of hazardous products. So if anyone's interested in how to get rid of stuff, it's an encouraging way to do it correctly to save the environment. Thank you. That's extend my report.
Thank you, Mayor Rebello. Now we have the police chief's report.
Good evening, Council. This week I had 23 4-foot barricades donated as an Eagle Scout project by Nicholas Down, who belongs to. This week I had 23 barricades donated from Nicholas Down, who's an Eagle Scout with Troop 19. Those barricades will be used in place of cones at parades and different other events. The bikes that I talked to you about a couple months ago that we're going to start having a bike patrol, bikes are being built this week. It should be done by Friday. We had Lauer, who was a police uniform company, donated bike uniforms. That's the good news. Bad news are burglaries are up. We're getting our tails kicked in burglaries, and commercial burglaries. But can you believe, after 2.5 years of talking about locking doors, I have commercial establishments who don't lock their doors. The commercial burglaries have mostly been up at Trenton and Crown, that shopping center there. Another one was around the corner at the mailbox place. That was not a forced entry either. So we do have a description of the male who did burglarize the shopping center. We spent a lot of time there, we still do not have it. But it would really be nice if we get to commercial establishments and lock the doors at night time. But be careful and start getting installations of alarms, cameras. This is the 21st century. People have talked about living across the street from Trenton for a long time. I'm just amazed that businesses don't have alarms. Our thefts are down tremendously over the last 3 weeks. Mayor Rivella was able to get PennDOT to come out and move our camping trip from underneath Route 1 out of there. We did have a few people that established a camping trip there. They are now gone. Miraculously enough, the thefts have dropped tremendously. The one thing we still have problems with are theft from porches. Packages being delivered by UPS and postal service. Might be one thing you may want to get out to your folks about asking for the signatures on items rather than just leave items on porches. Just a suggestion. Besides that, everything is very good in the police department. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Chief. And then we have 7F, our junior councilperson's report.
I'd like to start out tonight by saying just a thank you to everybody on the council, especially Corinne. This is my last council meeting as the junior council person. I've really enjoyed my time working with all of you, and I've learned a lot. And this experience has really confirmed for me that someday I want to go and hopefully go to college and study political science, so I can help try and make a difference too. And I'd especially like to thank all of you guys that come and take the time to come try and make your voices heard to make a difference in Morrisville, because that's the only way anybody on the council can do anything, is because they need to know what really matters to the people that live in Morrisville. But in any case, back to the school. Our junior-senior prom was last Friday. Everybody had a fantastic time. A note of congratulations to Kayla Romanek and Kanami Dodson, who won prom king and queen. They were very excited. The elementary schoolers have their field day coming up. This is a great opportunity. The high school students volunteer and help out. It's a great way to get the whole school community together for a day. The school is instituting a new Athlete of the Year award that will be given at their sports award banquet. This is really exciting, especially it's a new thing, and hopefully will help build some school spirit and excitement about that new end of the year. And lastly, graduation is June 13th. It's usually pretty crowded, but they do sell tickets, and we just want to wish good luck to all the seniors graduating this year, and hopefully that they'll have a great time moving on and that they'll remember Morrisville. So thank you so much.
Then we move on to finance. 8A, a motion to pay the bills. Can I have the bill list, please?
General fund, $148,031. Street lighting fund, $7,026.46. Library fund, $5,072.33. Recreation fund, $2,190.64. Sinking fund, $2,818.79. Street fund, $3,123.99. State highway fund, $2,209.63. Borough of Morrisville Jack Jones fund for $648.64.
for a total of $171,141.48. Since the last meeting, $188,206.98, for a grand total of $359,348.46.
Do I have a motion to pay those bills?
So moved.
Second? Corinne and Ted, any discussion on the bills?
I have report date 05/09/16.